60 store chain.
Yeah. What I was going to allude to is then if you're getting into where you're a 10, 20, 50 store chain, then you're more likely going to partner with some actual distributors where they're going to stock a lot of inventory in your back room.
Okay.
Whether that be a different look, whether it is a Napa, whether it is an Advance, there's other wholesale distributors out there that have a really good grip on this, like Mighty.
Yeah.
Albeit, I won't say their parts are inferior, but they're by far not branded or as OEM or OES quality.
Yep. Okay.
So that would be the first piece of how I decide on a parts supplier. I really call it more of a partner because you're dependent on them for the success of your business.
And then at what size? At what size, as you go up the number of stores in your footprint, at what size would you typically see people setting up their own distribution channels, going direct to manufacturers, and kind of cutting out the Advance and the Napas and the others, or is that not that common?
Yeah, no, I think in order to be a big player and to get in with the national chains, the Goodyears, the Midas, the other stores like that are out there, you're going to get into a national agreement there where the DCs that supply those Midas and those, they would actually be doing all the replenishment. It wouldn't be on the Felpro side, if you will, or if you think about Carl Icahn and his business, right? When you get into, now the name just slipped me, but he owns Felpro, he owns Thermal Quiet, all those
Federal Mogul.
Thank you, Federal Mogul. Once you get into agreement there, then you're playing big ball. So really to get to that level, to get the purchasing power and the brakes, you're really getting well over that 70, 100 unit location. And then that makes complete sense because then you're doing ignition, friction, you're doing gaskets, and you're going through some spark plugs, all that stuff. That makes complete sense for quick, light repair work. Obviously, you're not going to stock unless you got into, if you're a suspension shop on top of light repair and you have alignment racks and you're going to get into suspension, well, then you'd want to get more along the lines, of their product, right? You'd want to deal with Moog, another issue. Or you would want to get into the ride control side, and that would be tapping into Tenneco. And that would mean getting all their Monroe and all that other good stuff. So you're really looking, you're probably spot on. If it's 100 stores or more, that makes complete sense to get outside of an Advance. So
and then maybe we'll stick to a couple of product categories so it's easier to just relate because obviously there are big ranges depending on what product categories we pick. But if we start with friction, for example, so maybe let's cover friction, rotors, and then batteries, and then maybe one other product category. Excuse me. So if we start with friction, in terms of the overall value chain between starting from the manufacturers to the WDs to the retail repair shop, what's the margin ranges in there? Would you?
Oh gosh, if your margins again, depending on what we're talking. If we're talking about buying Wagner thermal quiets or Akabonos, it's really based on your shop, your clientele base, your geography, where you position yourself. If depends on the rent district, if you will, of where your shop is located. But
I mean, if we just look at the manufacturer margins, right? So if we just split the brake friction into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, the top, with the Akabonos and the others being in the tier 1, then usually what do you have a sense for how much margin they might be making?
Oh yeah. So usually on your parts, it's going to stay anywhere between 55. At least 55 to 70% parts margin.
And that's at the manufacturer level?
that's